Hi everyone, I'm Gloria Tiller from Kazoo Books, and you've tuned in to The Local Scene. This public media network show highlights local talent and people and businesses in our area in Kalamazoo that you may not know about. It's an educational program that tries to give you information about some of the things and some of the people in our area. The program is recorded and is viewed on Public Media Network on channel 188, but you can also go to archive.org, and if you go to archive.org and click on community video and put in the local scene, you can see some of our other shows that we've done in the past. And Bill reminded me earlier in the end of last year in December that I've been doing this show for 10 years. Now, it doesn't seem like it, but it is, there's a number of shows, and it was being done long before I came on board. So the local scene is what we're going to be talking about tonight, and I have a very special guest with me tonight, someone that we talked about knowing each other for quite a long time also. And Kelly Duggan is joining me tonight, if we can have a wide shot, Bill. And we're going to talk, this is going to be really interesting. We're going to talk about dressing appropriately for business situations or even for casual situations. We're going to talk about color, we're going to talk about appropriateness, and all kinds of fun stuff.
We are.
Oh, I might learn something tonight, Kelly. This is great. I've never been a fashion hound. So, well, I take that back. I had to be when I was in another profession, but I'm not now. But I'm really out of touch.
I don't know about that, but
I'm out of touch, dear. So you're going to have to show me what I'm doing.
We'll have a good time.
Are you a Kalamazoo native?
Yes, I am, originally.
Originally?
Yes, originally.
But what happened?
First grade, we moved from Ashtemo and headed to Colorado for about 4 years before I came back to Michigan.
And then you went to Lansing?
Yes, after I got out of college, I headed to Lansing, worked in Grand Ledge. I have a background in healthcare. I was working full-time as a dental hygienist in Grand Ledge.
So so how did you get back to Kalamazoo?
I met a guy, the guy from Kalamazoo. We called him Mr. Kalamazoo, which is quite a joke now.
Isn't it cute?
Yes.
So what got you out of healthcare and into, how long have you been doing this image consulting?
I started my image business as a part-time hobby in about 91.
Wow.
I started in color analysis and makeup while I was still working full-time as a hygienist.
Okay, and it just grew.
It did, yes.
There's a lot of us out there that don't know how to dress.
It's gotten more and more like that, I would say.
Well, now, would you say that, I mean, we were talking before we went on air about the fact that it used to be we had like a uniform. Everybody dressed the same. I mean, men would wear suit and tie. I remember the advent of the three-piece suit, which was a kind of an overkill kind of uniform. But with women, we all wore the same length skirt.
Right.
But anything goes today. So
Yeah.
how do you know what to wear?
You really have to learn and know yourself and kind of consider the industry that you're in, the role that you play, where you want to go professionally. But I don't know. It's kind of crazy. That's why there's no one set answer anymore. Where in past years there was, where how we dressed was born out of the 30s menswear, what they call permanent fashion, and housewives became out into the workforce, and kind of their dress had a huge impact by that.
Yeah, but the little black dress is still
It is
necessary.
There's reasons why there are classics, and classics still should be a foundation to your wardrobe.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about color. We're going to talk about cluster dressing, using your wardrobe the best we can. You have a PowerPoint behind us that we can get started on, and Bill's got a wide shot to that, so we can kind of look in. We're going to look sort of at the camera so we can see the back of the screen rather than turning our heads away from us. So if we can just go through a couple of the introductions. So Kelly, what do? You've got the screen, and if you want to start going through a couple of those, okay.
So
Impressions.
yeah, so what I do is really help, what I feel people can be their best advantage. So what I wanted to share today was in visual presence of how you can really create a positive lasting impression, and then also create, the perceived perception of what others feel of you as well.
Now, and that's, for example, if you're going for an interview, or if you're going to meet somebody that you've never met before, or whether you're going to go to a specific meeting with your district manager. You need to.
First impressions are powerful. Years ago, I served as an ambassador with the Regional Chamber of Commerce, and they had me do a little talk for our ambassadors, and it was, what are your touch points of first impressions? And many of us in business actually have several. For them, it was maybe the phone call, it could be an email, it might go into the actual meeting somebody face to face like we are. So there were several touch points of first impressions that created the long-lasting impression for you. We just don't think about that. Well, it's more than one component to it. It's multiple things going on.
Well, and nowadays, I mean, you used to make the appointment over the phone, and now sometimes you only get a text message.
Could be text. It could be you meet them for the first time out networking. I mean, there's a variety of ways today that people are initially meeting each other.
Oh yeah. Okay, and then you finally get to see each other after you've done 35 texts back and forth.
Exactly. So, so what I say as we kind of continue on this introduction and thought is that we all have an image or a presence. So craft it carefully is what I have to say, is you want to craft it carefully and really take at heart and look at, really what does the look and sound of image mean for you personally, or within the career, the profession that you're in. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, we want people to pick us, right? Pick me.
Well, and okay,
Yeah.
that is kind of where we're at. You want to make the impression because you either want the sale, you want the job, you want to connect with someone. We can talk about dating impressions.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, I'm actually working with a gentleman right now who it's through a dating service, and yes, this is we're kind of keeping our discussion for time point kind of professional, but how you package yourself is going to impact yourself for personal reasons as well. So I say, when you say the pick me thing, it's like if you want your significant other to pick up the socks off from the floor more regularly, how you present yourself and how you look, act, speak, and dress could help you get that done.
No sledgehammer, you just.
Yeah. So.
Oh, that's something. So, the risks of being an amateur. I like this.
Yeah. So when we think about this, and like I just mentioned, how you look, act, speak, and dress basically is how you craft presence. And you might have the individuals who really think, well, a dress doesn't really matter. It does. It's what gets you in the door, but there's other things. You want to think about your communication skills, your soft skills.
What's the soft skill?
Soft skills are going to be your eye contact, your body language, the use of some of your phone and email etiquettes. When you're out networking, do you intrude in between people, or do you wait to be, gracefully invited in or introduced? And then into the thought of dress, which we're going to spend most of our time on today, is, your packaging, and what does that mean? When we think about appropriate, what does appropriate mean? We'll look at coordinating outfits. What are the right type of garments? You want to be a professional. You don't want to be an amateur in your look if you want people to pick you.
But
ultimately.
I don't think people think about being a poor communicator or being rude or pushy. I think they just think that that's their personality, or maybe they haven't put a presentation together or thought about what they're going to say, or so, especially in an interview. I mean, I'm an employer, and I periodically interview possible people. I've had some terrible experiences with people. They don't dress, they come in, they don't have any I ask them a question, they've not thought it out. You know, they haven't, I've had people come into the store for an interview and they have to ask me what the store is because they've never even been in the store, but they want to work there, but they've never taken the time.
Yeah, they didn't take time ahead to research.
No
They could have
research.
found out all of it beforehand
And you know, they don't know how to get there. They've never visited our website. So I wonder how this affects, you know,
It certainly ties in. What I say, image and presence is kind of interwoven into everything, and it's made up of all those things. So not only dress, but what you're saying, you had a perceived perception of that individual.
they didn't even care
They didn't
enough.
pay attention to the details,
No.
and it put a negative tick.
Oh, yeah.
It moved them into the amateur versus the professional.
You know, and it did. It was almost a slap in the face for me because they didn't even care enough about, you know, knowing anything about the store before they came in and wanted to work there. Who knew? So yeah, that's interesting because I didn't really make the connection between touch points that we meet people before we meet people.
Correct.
And that's where communication comes in, and then you finally, and that's where image comes in.
Right. And aspects of what you share too, maybe how somebody comes into the interview or whatever it might be, just your body language and so forth. That's part of visual impact, is how you look along with appearance. And statistics on that, visual impacts in the first 7 to 20 seconds, and some recent ones, which I don't have all, I don't know the source of it, so I don't know the exact, but somebody was saying 4 seconds. So
Really?
when I'm doing a presentation, I'm up in front of a crowd and I'm teaching the pick me, and first impression stuff. It's like I tell them, you decided if I had anything to offer before I ever open my mouth. That's how powerful visual presence is.
So seriously, how you dress and how you carry yourself is far more important than people think,
Correct.
no matter what kind of situation.
If you have
you're in.
time to spend multiple visits or longer time with people over time, like we've known each other for years, you know, if I was just doing this presentation for you, I could have come in my jeans and my sweatshirt and my hair and makeup not done, and it wouldn't have
bothered me.
bothered you, other than you want me professional
Yes,
for your show.
it would have bothered me.
Yeah.
But the point is that, you know, there are people here that have gotten a first impression of you and I sitting at the table that may not have tuned in before.
Correct.
And so this is, you know, new for them too. So.
Yeah. So if you don't, then what if that broke your deal for where you want, what success you
Wow.
wanted? We don't want that to occur.
And we want you to stay tuned in because, you know, we gave you a first impression and a little bit of an idea what the show is going to be about. So we hope you're still watching.
Correct.
So there we go. Okay, Kelly Duggan, Image Consulting. Let's move on. This is enlightening.
Excellent. So, you know, we mentioned a few different times, like, you know, dressing appropriately. And I bet for you, Gloria, I bet for our audience here too, listening, that you've heard more than once, well, dress appropriately.
But what is appropriate?
What does that mean?
What's it mean?
I have answers for
All
you.
right.
So when we think about that, in that look of success,
There we go.
so we think
Yeah.
about professional versus amateur, and I like my guy, I don't know what we'll call him, Mr. Smith, just because that's overused, I guess. But if you were going to, you know, pick a guy for that next assignment or to represent you or your company, the guy to the left looks a little disheveled. You know?
He does. It's subtle. It's subtle, but he does look not quite
He's in the
together.
right garments. He's in a tie. He's in a suit coat, but it's not coordinated. It's not finished. It doesn't fit well. That's why I see a lot of people, they blow the fit part. Years ago, you'd really expect alterations. More so men than women. Women, take note of that. You've blown many a look just because simple alterations weren't completed.
Did you know that Libans will even alter jeans? Did you know that?
Do they?
Yeah.
That's great to know.
It's
That's great for a
really,
resource.
yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the other guy is okay. pretty basic dress.
And this is where you get into thinking, well, what's your goal? Who are you in front of? What's your role? What are you wanting to accomplish? Maybe you don't need that suit coat on or jacket. Maybe business casual or smart casual is fine, which we'll share some pictures here in a minute that kind of define that. Or, maybe the suit is. But I'll say my guy in this suit, because it's time to update some pictures, if he was with somebody who's really current and on trend, he might create some risks for himself here too, because he's in a suit that's really not of the times. Suit coats have become a little bit more trim cut, shorter in jacket. If this gentleman slipped off his coat, he's probably in pleated pants, where a flat front pant is current. So
How do you know all this stuff?
That's because it's my profession.
No, but a person going in to buy clothes, how would they know?
Well, keeping of times, there are some different publications out for women. InStyle magazine's a great resource for current trends. GQ and Men's Health has some fashion points within it.
So it's not just walking in the store and expecting to find the current fashion, because a lot of the stores still carry the old pleated pants.
To meet the need for the people who don't
Want
want to, don't want that, yes. And
Okay.
then with this gentleman, you could think of it too, not only in the style or the cut, but the color. This softer color is a little bit more social. So you get into how color communicates, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But if he was going in and needed credibility and authority, he would be in the wrong color here, where color can support you too.
Okay, well, you see politicians wearing red ties or blue ties.
Right,
you
right,
know,
yeah.
And something a little more striking.
Right. So here are a couple quick pictures too to look at a woman. This is Sue. She's a local Kalamazooan, a client that I worked with, Sue Mashiri, and we worked with her. She's an RN and was starting a wellness business when I met with her, and so we wanted to.
Oh, look, you
achieve
trimmed
a
her
look.
hair,
Yes.
got a new haircut.
Updated current look in her grooming and finishing, helped with just a few garments, put together
Look
a
at
cluster
that.
of garments that we're going to talk about how to do that today. And just gave her, for her, a spunky, vivacious look. She hummed and sang through this entire photo shoot.
Oh
we had so
my
much fun.
gosh,
So-
what a neat
So you want
transformation.
style to support you as well. If we put her just in a classic boring suit or something boring without print and color and pattern, it would
It would,
it just wouldn't
it
be
wouldn't work for
befitting
her.
to her. And that's what you want to craft, a presence or a style that's supportive to you. My belief and my background and what I teach my clients is really a three-step system of understanding color, proportion, and line in your clothing personality, and knowing what's right for you, and then how to put it together for the many hats
And
that
that's
you might wear.
That's where the consulting goes in. You can find out what's flattering to you, what colors work for you,
Right.
you know, and you can work with somebody maybe a couple of times and get them on track, and then they can build.
Right,
build
yes.
their
I
wardrobe
have
from
programs
there.
where I can work with my clients for 1 or 2 spot type of program I was just on a phone call this afternoon with a gal who we're looking at a 6 to a 9 month coaching program.
Wow. Okay.
So,
And you do groups too. So yeah, you
groups
do.
as well as individuals.
This would be a great little mini seminar or something that you could put together.
Right.
Even if there's a group of women in a business office that would want to just come in, I can see lots of different stuff. So we're back to appropriate.
Yes.
I have a question
What's
for you.
appropriate?
Steve Jobs. Years ago, I mean, if I say Steve Jobs, 99% of my audience know who Steve Jobs is. He was the first CEO. This was when tech stuff was just getting big. He was the first CEO that would wear nothing but jeans and a turtleneck. And he looked darn good in them too. But the point is he wore jeans, and he was a person of authority. And yet he wore them with a presence that created this really, really strong image. And I've noticed, and now I know that a lot more people are wearing jeans, and even in business situations. But I've noticed something else with some of these major CEOs. that they're still coming on for an interview with Investment Weekly or whatever business, or Meet the Press or whatever. They're coming on with their suit coat and a dress shirt, but they've lost the tie. They've unbuttoned the top button on their shirt, and they're coming in a more relaxed state. Is this becoming a trend? I mean, we're not doing away with ties completely, are we?
No, I wouldn't say we're doing away with them, and it's I think it started out as a fad.
Okay.
And became a trend, and some trends stay on long enough that they become a classic thing. So it was an initial kind of, I don't even know what I want to call it, initial fix to creating something new, where we've had this disturbance in
the universe.
Yeah, what is correct. And where when we think of Steve Jobs, he had the clout, the position, all those things already earned.
So he could wear anything.
He could wear what he wanted to. And probably if we went back and looked at it, I remember seeing him in a lot of pictures where he had a black turtleneck on.
Yes.
Well, black's a color of power. And presence.
Yeah.
When we think about for business purpose and professional presence, and your question about the tie and so forth, in business and how you use dress, you want the attention to come in and up to the face and the eyes. So that's why a layered piece, a jacket, is important. It creates what they call a magic Y, and it leads up to the face. With the button-up shirt, it has vertical presence that leads up to the face, and then when there was the knot of the tie, or for women if they wore a notched blouse underneath in the old day or high-end traditional dress, it creates more vertical presence. So when we think about Steve Jobs and where we saw him most of the time, it was in a dark color turtleneck. So visually it's going to do the same thing. It's going to lead the eye in and up to the face, just the strong vertical presence of the dark color, as well as he commanded the presence with his posture and his vocabulary of the sense strength and how he spoke, and just with the wisdom and support of that.
Yeah, he epitomized a success. I mean, when you saw him, the way he carried himself, the way he talked, and you can use that almost as an example of what to be, regardless of what you're wearing. That's where that whole image and persona comes in.
So maybe he could drop or relax the sense of his dress, which we'll share some pictures on the hierarchy of dress that supports that. But because what he said, how he carried himself, kept him elevated in his position. He didn't lose any clout, and
he gained
didn't lose
clout.
Any respect, and so he crafted.
Could get away with that.
Yeah, that. And then when we think about the question on the tie, I would say is I think that is a way to just relax the look, but because they're doing it still jacketed and with a button-up shirt, they still have all those design elements that lead the eye in and up to the face. I sometimes wonder if they're doing it just to make themselves more approachable. That could be part of it.
Because when somebody has a tie and is very structured, you're almost afraid of them, in some cases, or they're a notch above where you can reach them. I don't know, maybe that's
visually it's a way to relax your look.
Yeah.
Or it could be just their clothing personality. Where I teach, color, style, and clothing personality. Just maybe they're really just want to be more relaxed and want to be comfortable. There's potential for that.
Oh,
too.
sure, you bet. Where are we going on? Let's see where we are. Defining appropriate. Yeah, we did that.
Let's look at just some samples. When you say, well, what is appropriate? Just some visual examples of when we think of appropriate. Because years ago, we would think about, your traditional suited look. Maybe high-end banking, some law, some individuals with who they are just really classic. They might still go to that matched suited look. But most people today professionally are going to land in a professional business casual mode that we're going to see here, or into a smart casual, or maybe even into denim. So I just wanted to share a few examples.
I want to talk about denim.
Of that, and then how to finish the look. So business casual, professional casual, you're still going to see a jacketed suited look. the cut and lines of the garments are going to stay pretty classic, but you can have some room to explore and add, more color, like you see color in these palettes. You might have the foundation color of, say, a gray pant or a black pant, or a sport coat for a guy that's in a darker color, but maybe you could pair it with shirts, tops, cardigans for women, novelty
Yeah.
types of jackets and so forth that could have some more color. But you're still going to finish pretty clean and neat and refined in your presence.
Well, and I would say probably clean is probably a big deal.
Yeah, clean and neat is yeah.
Right, clean and
Yes.
neat is probably big.
Right.
Oh, there's another.
Yeah, smart business casual. You don't necessarily have to be jacketed, more unstructured, and it's just going to start to have a little bit more of a relaxed mode in the type of garments, the fabrics that they might be in. But again, you don't lose the clean and neat part. Don't lose the clean and neat part.
No.
Yeah, yeah. And then with the workplace denim, which you said
Yeah.
that intrigued you.
It does. So, okay.
So when we think of denim too, you don't lose the clean and neat part, even though there's, weathered or frayed denim and so forth. You want to have it polished and put together.
Bill, if you take a wide shot, I'm wearing jeans tonight, and I've got there we go. Let me get back over here. I'm wearing a pair of black jeans, and I've got this black top on that I have a blouse underneath it that I put on tonight, but it is the jean look. Now, I wear this, and then I've got my boots on, but I sometimes will take this, and I don't know if it does or not, if it would be out better, or if it would be...
It would depend on basically where you're at, the environment that you're in a more social setting, even if it's professional social. I would say that you could wear it out, and you could be sleeveless fine for professional social type of setting. With today where we're at, when we think about the layering and some of the trends of how you finish and so forth.
I can cover up this so that I'm not exposing quite as much either.
As much in the chest.
In the chest. So, and this is just another red scarf. Actually, it goes really well.
Yeah, it actually matches really well. You probably never, that's what I find when I work with my clients. They start looking at their wardrobe different, and all of a sudden they've got a whole new outfit that they didn't know they had.
I didn't know that matched. Oh,
Yes,
darn.
yes.
Well, it's warm in here, so that's why I kind of wanted to get up and take my jacket off.
Yeah.
But, so I'm gonna leave my jacket off. But I went out, and I bought jeans that fit. I've gone down a couple sizes. So my clothes, I had jeans on that were very ill-fitting, and it was obvious, and I couldn't believe the difference when I put on the new jeans and actually put on some clothes. So
yeah, I will say fit, whether it's denim to a suit or anything in between, that I've seen many a great ensemble or look ruined just because the fit was off. Women I see commonly sleeves that are too long on jackets, not so much with tops, but layered pieces with jackets where it comes down and covers into their knuckles, where a simple sleeve alteration would take care of it. Maybe they've done color. The rest of the fit of the proportion line is done nicely in their style, and it's the right type of garments, the right level of dress like we're talking through now, or maybe they should be in a professional business casual, but the whole look's blown because most of their hand can't be seen.
Well, I have long arms, and I hate to say this, but my sweaters and stuff I buy in the men's department. I buy sweaters in the men's department. I buy summer shorts in the men's department because they have long pockets. And I buy turtlenecks in the men's department because they're long.
Yes. Yeah. No.
And they're built better and they're cheaper.
Yes. Years ago.
I hate that.
Yeah. Years ago, when I was training in the image industry, one of my mentors and trainers said that if you have not with upper garments but below waist garments and pants and stuff for women who are more H-shaped, where they're thick through the waist and so forth, that they're many times they're better in a men's pant than a women's because they're not cut appropriately for them.
And jeans, you can go crazy trying to find jeans that fit. I tell
I
you.
just tried to find new jeans. The brand I was wearing is no longer, and I need to find jeans.
Oh, it's terrible.
pain.
It's terrible to find, and sometimes you just get so frustrated. That's I don't shop a lot, because of that. So we need to talk. Well, where are we now in that?
So what I
Okay,
say,
there's
yeah.
denim.
So many times, the last comment on workplace denim is just that. It is now a part of our work wear in some industries. So if it's okay within your work industry to wear denim, I love denim. I'm not opposed to denim.
I do too.
But do it well, and that means that you want to think about, is it something you'd wear out just casually for weekend denim, or is it truly workday denim? So workday denim's going to have a little bit of refinement to it. You want to think about what you pair it with. Think more business-wise with how you pair your waist-up garments and how you finish. So it's more like business.
But see, now that like that denim that my cameraman is showing, thank you, Bill, for doing this, is denim is now stretchy, it's contoured, it's tight-fitting or loose-fitting. Denim's a lot different than it used to be.
It is. It is. That's good and bad, I guess.
I guess so.
Right,
I guess so.
So, but yeah, so where we would continue on here is, you think about the type of clothes that we shared, but, oops, go back a slide. Oh, got lost in my slide.
There we go.
Get just the pictures up here. Okay, so we want to talk about that well-dressed professional, and since we've talked about the garments, when we started to talk about fit, that's finishing, and then what you shared with your scarf, how do you pull the look together?
Yeah, and when do you have too much?
Developing your wardrobe. So professionally speaking, it's going to be pretty simple, really. Sometimes if we look at what's on the slides here, Sue, or she's in that kind of polka dot, it's not really polka dots, it's just the details within the garment create pattern. So she doesn't need a lot more to finish the look. Truthfully.
So if you
just a pair of earrings.
Okay, so you start
fine.
putting. How did you put it when you put too much jewelry?
Too much? Yeah, you'd look like you've fallen into a tackle box when you come out and you've got bazillion pieces on. Where you want it's the thought of what your focal point is. And my belief, whether it's for professional reasons or personally, your goal really should be that people see you as a whole, as the person, and then up to your face and your eyes. That's where you want to be seen. You don't want things that, ooh, I love that ring, or I love that, necklace, or those socks are great. Not saying that they aren't great or wonderful, but potentially they're drawing away from, oh, you look nice, is really what you want.
That's what you want. You don't want to say you've got nice earrings on.
When somebody really has great style, we always think of them, but they're really classy. They're really put together.
Oh, I see.
But you generally don't pinpoint exactly what it is.
What it is,
it's
it makes
just,
it.
As a whole,
you want to create an image.
Yeah, they carry a presence about themselves, and you can't. So that's really what your ultimate goal is. And within that, I would say is they are very in tune to whether it's accidentally and or just they inherently understand style for themselves. They're usually not a slave to fashion trends and so forth. They have a honing guide or whatever that takes them. They know what their style is. And that's what I help my clients do. If they don't know what it is, we fully define it or put it together.
And part of that, and I guess probably, I went down this year and got new glasses. And so many of us, and I've been admiring your glasses since we sat down. Well, and for me, I'm a minimalist, but I got these, they're men's glasses. Because they're a little bit stronger, they were really flexible, they were really light, and because I have a wide face, most women's glasses look pinched on me. So I wanted something that was going to, not be real prevalent, but that would, but I have to take it into consideration when I'm putting jewelry on and when I'm doing everything else.
But what you shared backs into really what I teach and preach is, you're a minimalist, your proportion and line, your color. So you're in a silver frame, not a gold frame, so it's complementary to your skin tone, and so that's why it's great. And you didn't even know it.
I didn't even know that. I just picked them out. I thought, gee, these look good on me.
Yes.
So how close are we to color?
So that is next.
Okay,
So,
because that was one of the things that we talked about. It used to be in the old days. God, everything changes, doesn't it? How did you put it? There were 4 color ranges as far as complementary colors to your skin tone, your eye color, your hair color, that kind of thing.
Yes, with color, if anybody's familiar with what I call the old Color Me Beautiful days of color, where if you were a summer or a winter or a spring or an autumn, that's still used today, but in a much more advanced format and a much more friendly format than it was. That was kind of in the infancy days of color. But still today it backs into that, where you want colors that are complementary to your natural skin tone, your natural hair color, and then the eye color and pattern as well. And
Okay.
we're either cool or blue based or warm or yellow based.
Okay.
And some of us need higher contrast colors, others are softer, more muted. Because Gloria and I know each
there we
other
go, yeah.
for years. I've been around you enough to know, and you know enough about your color too, that we're both cool or blue based in our undertone, but yet we look completely different.
Yeah.
So, and the difference and where and why things kind of advanced and moved along was that because somebody might be coated one season by one person and another by another person, or they might feel just themselves like, well, I think there's a broader range of colors that I could wear, which what they found was true. So today in color, you're best in all cool tones, bright to a medium weight of color, where my coloring has some neutral muddiness to it. If you get real in depth, like the depth of my hair color, if I pull back my hair color and you look at it minus the gray that's coming in, but if you got a magnifying glass, which I do when I'm working with my clients, and we look at the colors in the eye and the pattern in your eyes, my eyes have a lot of gold and olive tones in it, which are warmer tones.
Yeah.
So today I am a palette that is cool but flows to a warm palette. So I have some neutral and some warmth in my color palette too.
And you actually mentioned, now you've got 2 palettes on the table here, and these are the color palettes. This one is the warm, and this one is the cool. But you work with 12 different palettes.
Yes, this is 2 of 12 palettes.
Wow.
And then with the palettes that I brought just for display for our session here, the one
These
you're
are
holding up
gorgeous.
right now is a women's palette. And then,
Oh.
so I have 12 male palettes and 12 female palettes.
So you've got 24 palettes of
24
color.
palettes total. Where the male palette, it's divided, it shows you what shirting colors are better, what colors to put into your ties and to other types of waist up, polo shirts or
that.
into shirting.
And then this
But
is the
both
woman's.
palettes,
woman's
and color is really a foundation. With image development, color and proportion and line are your 2 pillars. Whether you're designing a website to laying out a room or putting together a look, color and proportion and line are your 2 pillars to image and style development.
And you mentioned that proportion line, we're all built a little bit different, and there's no real, we're all, if you dress to match your proportion, everybody can look really good.
Right, I call it the art of illusion.
The art of illusion.
You can elude the eye. You want to maximize the minimum and minimize the maximum.
Okay. Ooh, that's sometimes a little hard to do.
Yeah, but you can do it, and color is a part of it. So color you can use in wardrobe development. You can use it in balancing the frame, the proportion and line. Myself, because we're talking about body shape, I'll use myself. I know myself. I don't know if we can view me here or not.
Sure, yeah.
But my body proportion, if you think of, with body proportion, you look at your vertical proportions as well as your horizontal proportions.
Okay.
In women's magazines, probably more than in menswear, they talk about the horizontal proportions. If you're an apple or a pear, or other terminology would be, are you an H frame, or are you a V, or are you an A frame? Those
Okay.
are your horizontal proportions. So with that in mind, I'm an A frame. I'm broader through my hip and thigh and narrower through my shoulder.
Okay.
So somebody like with that frame is then with color, dark colors, matte finishes, solid weaves, no pattern will minimize. So because my hip and thigh are my bigger proportion, that's where I'm going to keep my dark, solid, matte colors.
Okay.
And I'm going to keep the design pretty straight and simple. Otherwise, brighter colors, lighter colors will make things stand out. Pattern will make things bigger. So what I do is put my color on top because I want to balance my shape
Now,
out.
I noticed that you wear a short jacket. I look funny in a short jacket.
That's where you get into your vertical proportions, which will really define what's right or wrong. This jacket actually, it's borderline, but it's really a mid-hip jacket.
Yeah.
And about anybody, women can wear a mid-hip jacket.
Yeah, no,
but
it
it's
looks
true.
nice,
When
yeah.
you start getting shorter, if you're shorter torsoed and you wear a short jacket, that's only going to make that short torso look shorter and the legs look longer. And probably the legs are already longer.
Okay.
So you're doing the opposite of
What you want to do, accomplish, yeah.
So
Unless you want to look like you've got long legs, but yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, right.
So how you place color and when you think about proportion line, you can balance the frame, you can elude the eye, and so forth. And then it moves on into wardrobe development, which I know you
Yeah,
are
oh,
really
yeah.
liking the idea of.
Well, one of the things I wanted to mention too is shoes. Because a lot of times, and this is only because I wore heels for a long, long time when I was in real estate, and my feet don't like heels anymore. They really don't like heels anymore, and they don't work in the bookstore at all. So I can be dressed really appropriately all the way down to my feet. And then I got comfortable shoes on. And I know that it's hard to do, but nowadays wearing heels, wearing dress shoes.
I'm starting to have a few of those issues too. I think I have bursitis in my ankles, and I love heels. So it's like, oh my Lord, what am I going to do?
But what do we do? Do we?
Yeah, that's a tricky one. But I will say, fortunately, the shoe companies have been responding. I think we have more options than what used to be out there and available. You might have to do some more extensive searching for that. If you don't want to have the feet or the shoe be a focal point and just keep a finishing neutral point, you're best just to have a shoe that's the same color value of the hemline of, say, your pant or your skirt. So if you're wearing a lot of black, you're going to have black shoes. Today I'm in a brown pant, so I'm in a brown shoe. But the rule of thumb is really the same color value of the hemline and or darker. When we think about your, what I call my core neutrals that we'll talk about in a minute when we think about cluster dress, but core neutrals are your black, your dark gray, medium to dark gray, your navy. Those are shoe colors for women that you can find. Gentlemen might move into old days, a cordovan. Or you might today see a wine, or more you're seeing kind of English tan, where they do create some contrast in menswear, but it's a neutral.
Okay, one of the other trends that's going on right now, and there's the psychology of color table that Bill put up too, but one of the trends that's going on, and I think it is absolutely the coolest thing, are the crazy socks that men wear. They no longer have to wear brown, black, blue. They're they're wearing these wonderful patterns.
Yes, you're right, and that's a great point to bring up, because we do see that where you see these crazy socks, and that kind of, what you might be thinking, that might go against my thought of you want the attention to come to the face and the eyes. And how I say you do that is you balance it. If you've got some crazy color or something going on at the ankle, then in their shirt,
or in their pocket,
or in their pocket square, or if they do have tie on, in their neckwear, that they balance the color out, so it's just not popping at the ankle.
And
line.
sometimes you don't even see it until they sit down and cross their leg or something.
Yes.
But there it is, and these cool. I wish
Yeah,
we could
there's
get
a lot
away
of
with
fun
some.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
there's a
having
lot of
fun with
things.
it. So, okay, cluster dressing. We can chat a little
Yeah.
bit about that.
Cluster dressing is
And then what we might do is, if we get through that, we might go back to the psychology of the color table,
Okay.
because that can be very powerful.
Mhm.
Is the color that you wear, like we talked about Steve Jobs in his black turtleneck. But yes,
Yeah, so with cluster dressing, what
what
it
is.
it's a fundamental wardrobe strategy to grow a wardrobe. So with 8 or 9 garments, you can have 30 to 40 outfits.
Whoa!
So most of us, even men, I would say, women for sure, we think of black as a foundational color in our
Yeah.
wardrobe that we build everything off from. So you're using black as a core color in that manner. It's a core, it's a foundation.
It becomes a color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So core colors are the foundational, more sense of neutrals. If you think of your traditional suiting tones, I have some samples of some drapes here. So black, a medium to a charcoal gray, a navy,
There we go.
into your taupe and your stone colors are your
Okay.
initial type of core colors.
I love taupe. I think
Mm-hmm.
taupe is just so nice
Yeah,
to use.
and the beauty of them, if you hold those up and we look at our 2 palettes, so whether we're looking at cool colors or the warm tones,
they go with anything.
they will go with anything, and that's the beauty of a core color. So as you know your palette, if you learn about color for yourself, it will get more specific, and you can expand your core colors out where you might, like I have a darker verde green that's a part of my core colors. I have a mahogany or a wine tone that's a core color. But if you start with what you might think of traditional suiting colors, those are your core colors. My recommendations in working with clients is you want, particularly if you're a person who's out the door and dressed 5 to 7 days a week, is you want 2 to 3 core colors in your wardrobe. My core colors in my wardrobe are navy, brown, and gray. I usually use a deeper gray than that, but when we think about core colors, so in
Yeah,
those
see,
core
I
colors,
don't use gray hardly at all.
yeah, I use gray a lot. It's really, charcoal gray is my black. I'm weird. I have no black in my closet.
Oh my gosh, Kelly!
I have a vintage clutch that was my grandmother's. That's
You don't even
only
have the
thing-
little black dress?
I do not. Mine's navy.
Well, okay.
So yeah, so it's the same thought, but apply it to other colors, and what will happen is you put your pants or maybe a suit, or right now I'm in a brown core with my brown pants and my brown sweater. Or
Okay.
my underpinning piece here, but I also have a brown cardigan. So I could take this jacket off and put my brown
Okay.
cardigan on, and all I've changed is the layering piece, and I'd have a whole new outfit. So that's the beauty of it, is if you establish, for gentlemen, it'd be a suit, or it could be a pair of pants, and a shirt and a
Couple
lighter
sport coats.
similar, or a sport coat.
Sport coat.
Yep, same thing. For women, it could be a suit, or maybe you're not, say, in jeans. You're almost in a core with your black jeans and your jacket, your sweater that you
Yeah.
wore, because it's mostly
Be-
dominantly black.
Well, and I have a hunter green jacket that works with the same outfit,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got, in the summer, I have a lighter white.
Okay, see, and that's where then as you build out the thought of cluster dressing, that's where you start to add all these other colors. They're base or accent colors.
Or a scarf.
And that's a base, your red is a base or
I'm
an
just so
accent color in a
amazed.
wardrobe. And so what you want to ask of, if you were just adding that scarf into your wardrobe, and what I would have you do is think about, is it great for me color-wise? Yes, it is. Proportion-wise, is it good for me to wear scarves? Yes, your neck length is long enough to tie and not have it overcome you. And then you think about, we know that black is a core in your wardrobe, that you're gonna have pieces that it will mix and match with already
See,
in
I
your
have a
wardrobe.
chartreuse green that, that I wear a lot
And
with
you could do
it.
the same thing.
And, but I like scarves. I never used to wear them.
Right. So with scarves or your top, the underpinning piece, or like myself, where I have more of this novelty type of jacket. When I brought this into my wardrobe, what I asked of it when I was out shopping is it great for me color? Yes. Is it great for my clothing personality and proportion and line? But the next question I was asked, will it go with at least two of my core colors?
Oh.
And I can wear it with brown, which is what I have on with it right now. I could wear it with my navy pants and have another outfit. I could wear it with my gray.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
you can.
Your waist up garments, and this is for men or women, when we think of our shirts, our sport coats, our ties, our scarves, our accessories and so forth, is ideally if it can go with at least two of your core colors, then for sure it's a great piece. It's going to come into your wardrobe and be a workhorse for you. I'm lucky in this sense that when you use solid colors, they're going to be friendlier to mix and match, offer more of your core colors.
Well, and see, denim again comes in gray and brown.
Right.
And
Yeah, I have gray denim.
Yeah, I mean,
Brown
I
denim.
tried to get a gray denim. I bought jeans yesterday, and the pickings, nowadays you've got so many sizes that it's just crazy to come up with something. But yeah, you can get the black and the brown and the navy in denim.
And what I find with wardrobe development too, and for some people, if they really like fashion and style, they might think, well, this sounds really boring. I want like the latest trend. If you have your foundation
Do we have
poured,
such a thing?
if you have your foundation poured, that's great. But what I always ask people is, okay, when you build a house, do you pour the foundation first or do you hang the drapes?
Oh yeah.
You pour your
yeah,
foundation, and then you frame it, and then you hang your drapes. So if you build a wardrobe in that same manner, you will, like, I can walk into my closet now because I've been practicing these principles for years, but even in a short period of time, if somebody starts to implement this, you will have so many outfits out of fewer garments.
Yeah, you have so
that
many
you won't
different.
know what to do with.
One of the things, and I mentioned this to a friend of mine the other day, I went to the store and I picked out a V-neck lightweight sweater and a pair of jeans. And I said, this is so different from what I was wearing 3 or 4 years ago. It's almost like I've changed my persona. And I was joking about it. This is my new look. I have 4 new sweaters that fit with my core, but they're all different from what I used to wear. So without spending a lot of money, I can keep my core and get wild and silly with some of my pieces that go with it that change me.
Right.
And you don't need to spend a lot of money to do it.
No, and that's why I say, in wardrobe development, the core pieces, that's where you should invest some money. They're going to be pieces that you'll have
You're
in your
gonna wear
wardrobe
more.
for a long time. When you add pieces that have more color and design and stuff to them, that's the thing, that's the part that goes out of style faster too.
Sure.
So that's where maybe you look for at sale time, or if you're going to buy something, buy it on the very front end of the season so you have it the whole season to wear.
Well, there's that.
When you think about your cost
Yeah.
per unit of use.
Well,
So-
and I don't spend a lot for my for some of my sweaters and blouses. I do spend a little bit more money on, but sweaters and stuff, I get them on the sale rack, for $12-15, and then if they don't wash well, they're gone.
Well, and with the beauty of style, it's not a size, it's not a price point. If you practice these basic principles of style development, you can have a great style no matter your weight, shape, size, or the budget that you work within.
Well, and I got this at a specialty shop last summer, and obviously when you want to go with something that's stylish, I've added this to my core, obviously, but this was not inexpensive.
Yeah, but it's a nice piece and
but
it'll be
it's a nice
around
piece.
for a while. And it's
Yeah.
with cores, solids are best, but because you're all in basically one color, black is the dominant. Even though you have a bit of white and some of the geometric shape to it, it's still a solid enough colored piece to have it be a part of your
Yeah.
core and your
So
style.
I like this jacket.
Yeah, no,
It's comfortable.
and you can tell it's of quality. So
Yeah.
so with color, it really is that foundational piece And it moves on into, with finishing, we didn't talk about, but when you think about if you color your hair, if you, wear makeup, if you're doing your nails for women and all those things, it ties into.
Well, and the other thing too is last summer I was pretty tan and I went to the store to buy a couple things. I'm going, well, wait a minute, I'm not going to look like this, that, in the wintertime, so you have to kind of think a little bit.
Right, it won't change your undertone, so the same colors you will still wear, but maybe the weight of the color, how bright it might be or how light it might be, may vary depending on how much color you have
Yeah.
from a tan.
So, yeah. Oh, that's amazing. So,
We
where
have time to talk about psychology of
yes,
color
we
quick?
we sure do. And
Okay.
and again, it goes back to what we were talking about right at the beginning of the show, when we were talking about making that impression, making that trying to get that sale or that contact or make that contact real. There is a true psychology to the way we dress, what we look like, how we hold ourselves and our presence, and color is a big part of it.
Color is a big part of it, and again, it's used in multiple ways, to developing or distinguishing a brand, to how the feel of what it exudes and so forth. Hospitals years ago went from code red to code blue for a reason. Red stimulates, blue is soothing.
Well, and there you go. I hadn't thought about that. I know that in the real estate career that I had, it was imperative that I dress for the client. I mean, that was, you had to dress.
Yeah. And really, everybody should be still thinking about that today. I think even more so. Not that you have to be dressed up, but you want to pay attention to the details, whether you are in that traditional suited dress down to a denim smart casual look and anything in between. Paying attention to the details and defining a style that's true to you. And then when we think about how color can communicate for you before you've ever said or done anything. It kind of set the mood, the feel for what's going on. It can even support you. If you need to be appearing more credible and authoritative, and who you aren't is more meek and quiet, you can let the color of your dress do that.
Speak for you. I was thinking about this the other day. I was watching a football game. This was a while ago. And one of the teams had the gosh awfulest looking colored uniform that I think I have ever seen in my life. It was a cross between peach and orange. And it was awful. But I thought about it. You ever work with somebody to develop a uniform that is pleased? I've seen some very stylish uniforms.
Yes. Yeah, that's actually some of my work and my consulting part of my business is I can help with uniform development. And just recently I worked with a dental practice. I got to combine my backgrounds together.
Oh, cool.
All my years in dental, and that we did coaching and training on maximize patient care and some uniform development so that it also met the brand, but the experience that they wanted the patients to have.
But that actually represents your entire company.
Yes.
So if you're going to design a uniform, don't just pick a uniform. Think about this power that the color and the style and everything.
Don't let fashion drive it. Define what style and brand presence you want, and that's where somebody who's trained and really knows the background with how to do it can create a much better.
Oh, sure.
Presence in your
And you have to
uniform.
determine what image you want to project.
Precisely.
And that's a big thing too. So there's so much to this. There's just
Yeah, there is a lot. Yeah, even within the color wheels, we talked about color and cluster dress, but the color wheels for my clients, they get those, and it goes into how to use the whole psychology table for themselves and their dress, and what colors are better and what types of dress, if it's social, if it's professional, and it goes into a whole variety of areas. And
wow.
yes.
Well, thank you for coming on. We've got a few seconds here that we're going
Thank
to be
you.
saying goodbye. And Bill Lindeman is my camera guy, and He does a great job. Without my camera people, I wouldn't be able to put this on. I don't know how to run the cameras
Yeah.
or the
He
computer.
did a great job.
Yeah,
Hooray,
he
thank you,
did. He
Bill.
balanced all the stuff we were trying to do here. We tried to show a lot of stuff. So you go around the community. Are you going to be at Women's Expo?
Yes, I will be there helping out. I write for the magazine, have for several years, so I'll be there
We'll do a shout out
help
for
out.
Women's,
Yeah, Women's
Lifestyle
Lifestyle.
magazine and the expo, which is the first weekend in March at the fairgrounds. I will be set up there as Kazoo Books. You'll be there. So if you want.